Hello, YouTube. Welcome to my library for the first installment of a series on sort of oddball mezcals. So I wanted to. I'll review this guy in a second. I'll put a link in the time code if you just want to skip to that. But I wanted to provide a little bit of an introduction and context for this whole series first. So basically, I hadn't had or really bought any mezcal since about 2016 or so, and then last year I did a little tour, a little road trip where I bought a whole bunch of stuff, including a bunch of mezcals, and I just recently bought opened up this one, which is the Santa Ana from Alipus. This is very good, but it did kind of remind me of why I had gotten away from mezcals and inspired me to try to do this series. So here's my history with mezcals. I was kind of there, back around 2009, 2010, when mezcal was first starting to get hot. The Times were writing about it. I was there at the little trade shows where the Del Maguey guys were, showing off their wares, and we were all, super impressed. I mean, it's amazing stuff, and we never had anything like it before. But we were all also like, are you going to be able to sell an unaged spirit for $60-$70 to the American public? And to their credit, they've kept prices where they are. They sold out eventually, but and in the time since, I put my time in. I explored a lot. I bought a lot of mezcals. But eventually, I think part of what happened was as mezcal got hot, that sort of first inspiration, particularly the Del Maguey's, particularly Chichicapa, kind of imprinted a sense for what mezcal had to be, kind of on the American palate, and that was, that smoky sweet Oaxaca espadín thing, a very specific character. And by 2016, it seemed there was a ton more mezcal, but a lot of it seemed like it was just trying to duplicate that character, to just make a variation on Chichicapa. And so I kind of it's my palate just kind of got tired of that sort of set of flavors, and I kind of moved out of it for a bit. So buying the Santa Ana over there, I mean it's delightful stuff, and I'm going to review it in the series, but it did sort of remind me, I know these flavors already. Like I know the green pepper, and I know the smokiness, and I know the sort of agave maguey sweetness thing. It seemed like this is just a song I've heard a ton of times before. And so I immediately after that I ran out to buy a mezcal that was not that, and I intended to do a little series on mezcals that were not that. And this is the one I went to. So still not going to start with this. In the meantime, while I was, on the stands, out of the game, two really important things happened. One of them was kind of represented by, I'm not sure if you can see this. Do you see that thing that says Mezcal Artesanal up there? So in 2017, I'm sorry, Mexico basically made a law declaring a sort of tiered system of what mezcal was supposed to be, right? So it's a legal classification. If a bottle just says mezcal on, and that's it, you can use the whole host of industrial bugbears to make it. You can use diffusers. You can use column stills, industrial column stills. You can do pretty much whatever you want, as long as there's some kind of maguey involved in there somewhere. It's the stuff tequila guys have been complaining about, forever. Um, on the other hand, if it says Mezcal Artesanal here, right, that means no diffusers, no column stills. It's got to be a pot still. I think it's got to be double distilled. You can also use clay stills, but that's really the next level up. It's got to be cooked in a traditional oven type, right? It's got to be traditionally fermented. It's got to be, of the character of the kind of high-end mezcals we've come to expect over the last, 10 years, let's say. And above that, you've got the mezcal ancestrals, which are the ones those are the really hardcore ones that have to be, distilled in clay pots. So those are super cool. I'll be doing one of those at the end of this. So that's one thing that happened. You have a legal classification now, and it still hasn't filtered out to the consumers, I think, and it hasn't even filtered onto the labels all the way. But if you're in the shops and you're having to decide between a bunch of things, and one of them says artesanal on it, in this particular phrase, and the other doesn't, that gives you a quick way to decide, right? The other thing that was happening even before I left and was getting me a little bit excited, I still gave up, but was mezcals not from Oaxaca coming onto the scene. There were always mezcals made from stuff beyond Espadin, right? Tobala and all those things. But, there were a couple of brands started to bring in stuff from just, completely different states. And one from Michoacan, actually, the same place as this is from Darombas, I think, completely knocked my socks off. But it's not just them. It's mezcal is made throughout Mexico. And I mean, there's also, Sotol and Bacanora and lots of other things going on. But, there's, mezcal is not limited to Oaxaca, right? And those other states should get some attention. Michoacan is particularly interesting because they have a long history of doing it, but they haven't been able to legally call it mezcal since, I think it's only been like 2012, 2013 or so. They've been able to actually market it as mezcal. So, I had my $40 in my pocket and I had a budget and I wanted to buy something on that budget that was not, an Espadin from Oaxaca. So I got this. This is La Luna Cupreata from Michoacan. I'll put all the info below it. It's 46.12% alcohol. They got very precise. Lot P1-05. It's let's see. Mezcalero Isidro Perez Escot. And yeah, I'll put the rest on the side. I do want to talk about the stills while we're taking a break, but because they're super, super cool. But yeah, 100% Cupreata, about $40 where I am. This is their entry level. All right. So I've been babbling enough. Let's dig into this. So what I'm going to do, as is my thing, I'm going to try it neat. I'm going to add a squirt of water, let it rest a little bit while it adjusts, and try it again with some water in it, and if you have some final score and a comment. Okay. So the nose is really dominated by lemony stuff. The opening is kind of like if you took lemon peel and like toasted it with a torch. That's kind of what I'm getting here. There's also some like there's lemon pulp in here too, but also different. This is very citric. So you're getting lemon is in front, but there's also orange, grapefruit, even a little bit of lime, like pulp, not the zest so much. Like a hot Hungarian paprika note, like that spicy paprika you can buy in the little packages, the little red packages. kind of fresh pine wood note, like if but kind of almost burned, like if a lightning bolt struck a pine tree and sort of split it wide open, and there was fresh um, pine wood interior lying around, but a little bit burned, almost like just kind of muddy, in general muddy note, as if like you dragged your lemon peels um, through a couple of mud puddles. You went off-roading with them. One thing I'll say about this is I found this to be what I'm going to call a moody spirit. And this is something I found with Old Pulteney, 12-year-old, years ago. And it's something like this. When you first open a bottle and you pour it, the spirit is kind of angry at you, for lack of a better word. It comes off, it's very aggressive, very bitter. Like this was, it was still doing the lemon thing, but it's much more, punching me in the face with, sours and astringencies. Now it feels like there's a little bit of Mayer lemon kind of floating in here now. And the thing is, so it starts out angry, and then you come to it the next night, and it's a different beast, right? It's smoothed itself out, it's sweeter, all those astringencies kind of fade away. And if you keep at it, night after night, it still remains perfectly pleasant. But you put the top back on, file it away on a shelf for a week or two, come back to it, it's all angry again. That's a moody spirit, and it's a good sign. Like it means that it's got the character, right? It's not a sort of boring, mass-produced spirit. It does mean like you occasionally have to like pour yourself a little sip the night before you intend to like go for it seriously, or else it's going to tear your head off. But yeah, the moody spirits are fun. Okay, enough to lay a palate. Ooh. Very sour, astringent. Ooh. Lemon juice all the way. A little Mayer lemon sweetness mixed in there, but not too much. Very sour. Lemon zest is in there too, the toasted lemon zest thing. Kind of, hang on. Like what is that soda that's, well, okay, it's a mix of things. It's a mix of like Sprite, but also that there's a particular grapefruit soda that I'm forgetting the name of. And that's in there too. Like we're getting like carbonation, if I can put it that way. Yeah, very sour in the front, carbonation in the middle. And then in the end, it kind of gets it turned in this sort of delicious custardy thing, like lemon custard that's been sort of smothered in mud, and even like an evergreen. Hang on. Yeah, like peat, but Canadian peat. I don't know if so. Lost Spirits Distillery in California, years and years ago, did a whiskey, and I think it was called Leviathan, made from, and it was peated, but it was Canadian peat. So we're talking like, evergreen peat, and it was terrific. But I'm getting that in this now. It's like, halfway to coal, but pine needles and Christmas instead of traditional Scottish peat. Yeah, root vegetables. Red onion, kind of yellow bell peppery thing. Yeah, this is not espadine, and I'm kind of loving that. Okay, so that's the first go. I'm going to give this 1 squirt of water. Leave it alone. While I talk a little. So, part of the appeal for me is just, this is a different kind of thing from Oaxaca. If you put it in a lineup, you would never sort of mistake the one for the other. The other cool thing about this, beyond just the difference in the maguey, this is Cupreata, which I don't know anything about. I think it's native to Michoacan, is the nature of stills over there. So I'll also put it down in the description. The La Luna guys did like a little tour of their distillery, and you can see the stills in there. It's they're these crazy things, like sort of half buried in the ground, but the neck of the still, it's actually like a pinewood cylinder with like a copper hat on top, and so they distill through that, and of course they get very, very hot. They actually have to change those damn things out every single time. So they have like this crazy contraption, which is like, you know, takes the pinewood, cylinder on top of off the top of the still, and so they can put another one on and do another round. It's just, and this is just kind of the tradition over there. So how do they describe it on here? This is a a double distilled in a copper, casto, and pinewood still. So if you thought Port Moran in Guyana was the last wooden still in the world, no, Michoacan is doing at least a partially wooden still, and pine, not whatever that crazy wood the Port Moran is made out of. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff you find if you start exploring a little bit outside of the normal rounds of, oh, it's espadín, it's from Oaxaca, and it's nice and smoky sweet, and it goes well in a mezcal cocktail or whatever. Wooden stills, cool. All right, so coming back to it with a little squirt of water in it to open it up, actually deepens out a lot. The lime kind of comes up, and it's starting to fight more with the lemon for control of the spirit. Lime juice for days alongside the lemon stuff. Grapefruit too. More grapefruit peel now than the actual juice. There's something floral going on, which is hard to. Part of me wants to say like dried flowers, which have been kind of pressed out, but it's something. And there's that, but it's more like there's something almost Febreze going on, someone was cleaning their bathroom and got a little too eager and just kept spraying Febreze over and over and didn't realize it was going to stink up the whole hallway. More sort of hot paprika, that lemon thing. Just a little bit of even a little cinnamon. Maybe it's more clove than cinnamon. Let's go clove. Nutmeg. Something beety, but like baked beets if you left them in the oven a little bit too long. Lovely. Okay, let's give this a palate. Ooh. This is why you add water to stuff. Sweetens up, actually, very beautifully, but also gets really peppery, just pure white pepper, just bum rushing my palate. I'm really enjoying it. Hang on, let me give this one more shot. Yeah, you can sort of tell now. There's a family resemblance to traditional agave nectar coming through now, sort of dancing in the gaps in between the pepper and the lemony stuff. The lemony stuff is definitely still there. It hasn't been taken over, but wow, it's gotten a lot sweeter and pepper. This is nice. This is just it screams well made. And again, it does not taste like an espadín. And that's kind of going to be my primary reason for recommending this. It's $40, and it's I would say it's as good as any mezcal you're going to find in that price range. But it does not have the sort of flavor profile that you're probably familiar with if you've been in the game as long as I have. I like this. I do feel like I kind of want more. It's a solid foundation. I just want more moreness. I want it to pop a little bit more. It's like I'm sorry, it's like you're you're at a party in college or something like that, and you're making out with someone, right? I never, not that I've ever done this, but and it's nice, it's great, and they're hot. You just want them to give you a little more. They don't seem to have their heart all the way into. That's kind of how I feel about this. There's amazing potential here, but I feel like, what would this be if they sort of let it ferment for another, day or two, or even like I was actually thinking about I was reading recently they in particularly in Oaxaca, they've been trying to figure out what to do with all the viñaza they have now, which is the stillage leftovers from when you distill mezcal. And one thought I had, being a rum head, was, why not just throw it back into the next round of distillation, sort of Jamaica style. That, of course, that doesn't solve the pollution problem in the long term, but if you wanted to just kind of force more character into the distillate, that would be a way of doing it. I don't necessarily recommend La Luna does this, but I would just like to see more moreness. And I'm sorry if I'm sounding vague there. It's a great profile. It's a great base. It's just I want sort of more character, more pop. What am I going to score this? I'm kind of stuck between an 84 and an 85. Screw it. Let's say 85. This deserves it. It's the fact that this is going to be angry at me again if I leave it on the shelf just says, for some reason, that screams quality to me. So I'll give it the full 85. 85 points. Terrific, not terrific, but good value for what it is. And we'll continue this next time with going back to Oaxaca, but slightly differently than usual. Thank you very much. Cheers.